Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make a wet mount of the plant cells that we're going to be looking at today. We're going to be dyeing some onion cells in iodine so that we can see them, and we're going to place them on a slide and cover them with a cover slip. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing to know is that this is your iodine here. This is a dye and it will permanently stain clothing, so we need to be very, very careful with this. So if at any point we take the cap off, as soon as we're done with it, we need to put the cap right back on. Okay, so the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna grab your slide, lay it down flat, and now you're gonna take your little piece of onion. You only have a tiny piece because that's all you need. Now, the underside of the onion, so let me see if I can show you how you have that top part that's kind of more dry, and then the inside part that's more slippery of the onion, that curved inward part, that's the part we need. So we're gonna take that bottom layer of the onion off right there. It's one cell thick. It's very, very thin, and it's a little bit tedious. So you're gonna just peel it off with your fingernail, and you're gonna be very careful so as you don't rip it. Just like that. Okay, now this last part, this rest of the onion, we're just gonna put that back in the cup because that needs to be discarded. So if you see, this is kind of wanting to curl up on me, so I need to be very careful when I'm going to, there's the bell, lay it down on my slide. So I'm just gonna lay it flat on my slide right there in the middle, as carefully as I can so I don't rip it. You don't need much. This is all you need really because it's just gonna fit right under your cover slip. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my iodine, open it up. I already have like a tiny little bit in there. I'm not even gonna pull more up. I'm just gonna use that. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put one drop on the onion cell, right, just like that. I only used one drop. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put one more drop just because it'll spread out a little bit better. Just like that. All right, now I'm going to take, if I can find my materials, oh, my toothpick, there it is. I'm gonna take my toothpick, very gently move that iodine around just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. Okay, and now I'm gonna take my cover slip, which I have in this little cup right here. This is glass and it will break. You need to be very careful with this. So now we just need to finish off making our wet mount. So I need to put the cover slip down on the slide. Now I don't wanna just drop it on there because number one, that'll make a bunch of air bubbles, and two, again, it could break. So I'm gonna kinda angle it like this so that I'm gonna set it on there very, very carefully. You don't need to rush this. It's very important to go slowly. All right, so now you've got your slide like that, and now I'm gonna just very carefully tap gently to get out any air bubbles. Just like that. You can see it. So I still have a few air bubbles, which is not ideal, but it's okay. So that's a little bit easier to see. So if you see, my air bubbles are really not actually on the onion itself, they're more around it, so that's gonna be okay. So now whenever you're finished with your slide, once you're finished using it, you're just going to take it apart very carefully. I'll call you over to rinse it off in the sink, and you'll set everything back in your tub for the next class to use.